8779, folks, because of the radar. 8779, and I'll check it as we go through. It didn't last very long yesterday. Alright, good morning everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio on 8779. Patricia and David at ZMH286. I'm just talking to Harry on the lure, heading to Australia. Have you got a place in mind still? Are you still going to Southport, Harry? Okay, I'm confusing you with Bravo, I think. Alright, got that, and it's looking pretty decent at the moment. And certainly for the folk that left Newcastle, in fact, it's probably looking the best for you guys than anywhere else, looking at the satellite picture.
You'll be fine on Australia.
Yes, David just said you'll be fine on your trip, so that's good. All right, and I must have a look at what's going on listening-wise here, because it certainly is, well, up and down, that's for sure, although your signal and Bill's was consistent all the way through. All right, sounds like everything's going well with the boat, so good sailing to you, Harry, and good morning to everybody else that's joined us. Absolutely glorious morning here. Flying Fish has just arrived in the Bay of Islands, and he'll be ecstatic with the weather that's greeting him. Took him 5.5 days from Minerva. This is a blue sky day, 15 degrees. Okay, 15 is not all that great, but it will warm up to 18. 1029, steady on the bar. Everything is just fairly static here, about 2 knots from the south-southeast. An absolutely glorious morning. There's been some pretty good speeds given the conditions from U-boats. I had an email from Sea Cloud. They left the Tonga area and did a 180-mile day, which given the sea conditions was absolutely fantastic. There's been some good sailing, despite the fairly lumpy seas that you are all experiencing on the outskirts of the of this high that we've got over us. A quick run through. Maryland's at 22, 175.5. Absolutely ripping along in easterly 20, 99% cloud cover up there, and there is a lot of cloud between us and well, towards the second half of your trips there. Mana 23 and 17835 west. They've got easterly 18 to 24, easterly 1.5 meters swell, and only 20% cloud cover over there, but they will get the cloud as they head a bit further west. Great speed though. Exocet strike 21, 45, 175 east, easterly again 21 to 23. Bit more swell down there, easterly 2 meters, and Lupan report the same sort of conditions, southeast 2.5 meter swell, same wind speed, east southeast 22. They're just behind Exocet strike there. Heat wave, by the way, have got no wind really. They're 100 miles west of North Cape, so it shows you how quickly it calms down. They're at 34 now, 170. 3-2 east with only 7 knots of easterly, so they're motoring at the moment. There's not much wind up there at the top of New Caledonia either. Alcyon reported in from up there, southerly 5. He's up at 20 degrees, 164 east. So, and you would have heard the boats that called in before, looking at quite a lot of wind there. Victoria at about 2-2 south had 20 knots, Toranui at 2-3, 25 to 30, Liberation 22, trying to catch Toranui by the look of it. He's got 20 knots, gusting up to 26, so a bit more peaceful to the west where Malua was. I just kept forgetting, Exocet strike mentioned the current that they had. They had a bit of negative current leaving Fiji, and you will probably get a bit annoyed as you start closing in on the North Cape area. There's quite a decent negative current for a while, and it's really, really annoying, you know, when you start smelling the barn and you see that your speed is down almost a knot. There is quite a strong negative current, but you do get a bit of it back as you get closer, so don't be too upset by it. I know we always used to get cross about it because we used to have competitions with each other And if you happened to be on watch with the negative current, it was really annoying. Anyway, we've got some emails in just arrived from Obsession and Whistler. I have to read those when David is talking. They've just arrived. I'll give you a bit of news. Not that there's an awful lot at the moment, but it shows you that there is a world out there whilst you're dealing with the conditions that you've got at the moment. A huge event in Auckland this weekend. The Tongans. We have a very large Tongan population in Auckland, and there is a very big rugby league match this weekend between Tonga and Australia. And the Tongans are very ardent supporters. I mean, you drive around and they've got flags and streamers on their cars and all sorts of stuff going on. So it's a long weekend here, so there'll be a lot of entertainment on. There is in the paper this morning, this is a bit of local news, a huge new design for a stadium. Everyone's been talking about a stadium in Auckland for I don't know how many years, but this one's well, they get bigger and brighter, $1.8 billion design, which would probably be twice that if they ever did it. But it's quite spectacular design, set into the water, right along the waterfront by Queen's Wharf. Looks absolutely spectacular. I don't suppose it will ever take off because they want to have, they say that it will not cost the taxpayers anything because they want all sorts of space for apartments and stuff like that. But anyway, that's looks rather spectacular. I don't know how they're going to get people to it, but anyway, that's another problem. Going back up into the South China Seas now, the tension is growing. That's probably why we've got this radar noise coming up. Two B-52A Stratofortress bombers flew over, well, very close to the contested Spratly Islands yesterday, so further exacerbating the tensions between the USA and China. All good stuff. We're really, in fact, if they wanted a donation to the fuel fund, I'd be happy to give them one. It's about time we started doing something about what's going on with all those building up of islands and military bases in the South China Seas. Here's me. I just wish I was 50 years younger again, because in 2019 there is going to be the W Series. The W Series will launch next year for women drivers. They will be racing in identical Formula 3 cars, and their idea is this will enable them to better get a pathway to being in the Formula 1 division. So there you have it. If you're a young lady out there and you're a bit of a petrol head, then there is an opportunity now to get into the W Series next year. It will start off in Europe, but plans are for it to also have races in the United States and Australia. Bit of very bad news in New Zealand. Most of you Kiwis will know of Sir Tim Wallace. For those that don't, he was the man who pioneered live deer recovery in the South Island. Many, many moons ago, they used to cull deer in the South Island, and he decided that was a bit of a waste, that if they captured them, they could start deer farming, which, of course, is a very, very big business in the South Island of New Zealand. So anyway, he lost a son, killed in a helicopter accident. Of course, he's big into helicopters. He created a huge helicopter operation empire, and one of his sons was killed last July in a helicopter crash, and yesterday another son was killed along with two DOC workers, Department of Conservation workers, when their helicopter that he was flying crashed shortly after takeoff. They were heading out on a TAR, that's Tango Hotel Alpha Romeo, TAR culling trip. It's a very controversial thing down there because the hunters, of course, don't really want them culled because they're good for hunting, but they are causing a lot of strife, and DOC want them culled. So they have a culling program on at the moment and have just lost 3 people. That's really sad. Okay, Climate Change Brigade. I put this one in especially for David. I'll get him really cross, but he'll settle down before he does the weather. They now say, and they're appealing to different people now, you see, they're saying that the flooding risk in the Mediterranean region will increase by 50% by 2100. So, if you want to visit the Blue Mosque in Istanbul or ride in a gondola on the Venice channels, you should do it soon. Mind you, the chances of us doing it 50 years from now are pretty slim to none, aren't they?
So it's going to rise from 1 millimeter to 2
yeah,
millimeters?
Probably, yep. So there you have it. If you want to visit those places, you have to do it before 2100. I don't think any of us out here are going to be alive at 2100. They always give these statistics because no one will be around to say, see you, fid. Actually, there's starting to be a bit more information about electric cars now on the negative side. The focus has turned to how much more CO2 is produced for these cars in the car battery process of manufacture. Places like Germany, China, Thailand that do all these batteries, evidently there's something like 70% more CO2 used in the manufacturing process because all these places use coal than there is in normal batteries. So there you are. You're starting to get a little bit of a balance now. That's about it that I've really got to tell you about, and I know David wants to start doing some weather, so I'll just let you know. Actually, Whistler, I've just read their one whilst I was talking. See, I can multitask. They did 182 miles in the last 24 hours, so they're doing rather well too, having left the west side of Fiji there. And Obsession, they're getting further down there at 3246. And they've only got east, northeast 10 to 15. So that's pretty good conditions. Yesterday we could not, something or other. But anyway, let's see if we've got, I'll just do a quick call to see if we can pick up 2C2. They're on their way from Suwaro to Tonga. 2C2, Gulf Harbour. Nothing heard, and we've still got radar on 8752, so we will stick here. Is there anybody else with a quick report before I pass the microphone? Oh, good morning, Trevor. Go ahead, over.
Yeah, we're at 2413 south and 173 east, 33 about 18, 20 north, and basically it's up north to the cool of 152 degrees, getting rain.
152 degrees, and could you just repeat your latitude? I don't think I got it right. I'm just trying to think. Would he be at
2413.
2413.
Oh, 2413. Yep, okay, I put down 23. 2413, 16733, and you've got easterly 18 to 20. Wow, boy.
Right.
Yep, because I was looking at where Malua is, and they had 15 east-southeast. So, yep, that looks good, says David, looking at the map here. And I assume all is well on board. Good morning to you, Jan.
Yep, all on board. It looked better if it was more on the northeast, but still, okay, we'll leave it to it. Thank you.
Never happy.
He's never happy. I thought that he was going to get east-northeast.
Well,
yeah. Well, we'll find out. Yeah, I was told you were going to get east-northeast, so we'll see what he has to say. Anyway, good morning to everybody that's joined us, and I'm just going to check if there's anything on here. Good morning to Diego down there in Kindavu. Grey sky, 25 degrees, no wind in Kindavu. That's interesting. All right, I'm just going to pass the microphone.
Is he underwater?
It's not underwater.
I think he's underwater. It's got to be wind. But, so, you're not happy because there's no northeast, huh? Well, you'll have a little bit of northeast when you get further south. And we probably would have had it by now, had that low continued to develop a little bit more than it has. But once you get below 26, 27, it starts, the isobars bend, and the winds are going to back. All right, everyone is taking this, that is taking this weather window has left. It looks like here, a bunch a few days ago, most of you went yesterday, and that gives an ETA, if you're leaving from Fiji to New Zealand about the 26th of October. That's a Friday, I think. And those from Minerva and New Caledonia should be arriving about the 24th or sooner. So let's look at today's synoptic analysis. Our high center by lunchtime is going to be over New Zealand, just about over New Zealand. Central pressure 1029er. And thankfully, it remains very large in area. And as we've been talking about, it's covering most of the Southwest Pacific. Now, we have a polar dip that's evident in the northwest corner, as we saw yesterday. Not quite enough of a polar dip to make Trevor happy, but it's there. This little bend in the isobars couldn't be better for yachts, actually, leaving New Cal, but unfortunately, it doesn't really show up until you get a little bit further south. By lunch on Saturday, the high is going to remain over New Zealand, actually progged to increase in pressure, and we'll call it about a 1031. Now, this is a recipe for quite fresh winds for the en route yachts and those who choose to stay in the islands. And as luck would have it, the high remains over New Zealand right through lunch on Sunday, the 21st. If anything, it may regress just a wee bit, meaning the center of it actually travels to the west. Just a skosh, not much, but this happens off and on. Now, off to the east of us, by Sunday, we've got a 978 depression, and that's sitting between 140 and 150 west. This is compressing the isobars that are on our high's eastern side. So where we would have had southeast trades at about 170 west, we're not. And that's due to the isobar shape change. And this really isn't going to affect anyone transiting from Tonga or Niue to New Zealand. But if you're trying to come from the Cooks, I think you're going to find a bit of headwind activity because of that, unfortunately. Even so, the Tonga yachts should be careful of not putting in too much easting, or you're going to run into the isobar change. Now, looking at the passage, Fiji or Tonga at 20 south, you could expect easterlies today, 20 to 25, and those are the reports we're getting. Dead nuts on that. Saturday easterly about 25. Sunday at 25 south, easterlies 20 to 25. And Monday, east 20 or thereabouts. Tuesday and Wednesday, northeast winds in the 15 knot range. The 25th, Thursday, and Friday the 26th, the winds remain northwest. And Saturday, northwest with the front almost over New Zealand. Now, those of you coming from New Cal, north to northeast winds, once you get down to about 27 or so, and that'll carry down to 30 south right through Tuesday. And on Wednesday, you could expect east to east northeast winds. And on Thursday, northeasterlies, maybe shifting northwest, and you'll be arriving in New Zealand at about that time. So those winds will be coming. And actually, easterlies aren't bad. We usually get southeast winds, and that's what makes that passage extremely difficult. Okay, anyone today between 170 and the date line, 170 east and the date line, can expect convective activity that's in and amongst the highs isobars. Be very wary of squalls, especially at night. These cloud bands extend all the way down to 33 south and almost on the North Island, frankly. So be careful about that. Now, the next significant frontal band to affect New Zealand looks to be Saturday to Sunday, Saturday the 27th to Sunday the 28th. Everyone should be in by then. I'm almost positive you'd have to be in by then, unless you absolutely stop and fell asleep. Okay, up to the islands now. The usual Solomon's Trough is in place. There's a parallel trough over the Santa Cruz Islands, and there's another one over Rotuma. The Northern Cooks, they're bothered as well. And of course, our trough over Fiji to the Southern Cooks still affects the zone. Now for Tonga, satellite imagery shows scattered cloud and showers and plenty of wind. Tonga Met has a strong wind warning in force and a heavy damaging swell warning in force. Winds east to southeast, 20 to 25, rising to 30. Now, this sounds like a broken record, doesn't it? We've had this report now for a couple of days. Saturday should be a repeat of today. Now, I see, well, the same thing for Sunday. It's a good solid 25 knots, east-southeast to southeast. And on Monday, east to east-southeast, up to 25 knots as well. The winds look easterlies through the middle of next week, and they'll be 20 to 25 knots. So not pleasant, folks, I'm afraid. There is a good chance of a tropical disturbance by week's end near the Tonga area. So definitely keep a watchful eye next week, and we, of course, will be reporting on that as it develops. Fiji weather, boy, that sure is forgettable. Our slow-moving trough affects the group. Hate to say, but it's probably going to go right through next week. By midweek, that tropical disturbance that I talked about looks to form in the southern Koro Sea area. All in all, folks, it's just plain crappy weather. It's no two ways about it. The Fiji Met still has a strong wind warning in force, plus a heavy rain warning. And if that's not enough, they've got flood warnings if you step foot on land.
Overwhelming.
Expect winds east to southeast, 25 to 30, gusts getting up to 35 knots. Poor visibility, obviously, in areas of heavy rain and thunderstorms that are out and about. 25 knot winds continue on Sunday, east to east-southeast. Very, very windy in Batuira Pass as well. Quite a bit of wind, looking at the satellite image there. We'll start to see converging winds by midweek. There's going to be north to northeast winds colliding with easterlies, I think. So that's going to aid and abet this tropical disturbance if in fact it does form. Those waiting to make a trip to Newcal, there's at least one boat that wants to do that. You may want to reconsider this trip. This coming week is not looking very nice. Easterly quadrant winds to 30 knots and higher gusts. So while the wind is in a good direction, it's going to be pretty rough out there. So it's doable, but you're going to get bounced around a bit. If it were Chameleon, us, we would wait. But you younger folks, you can put up with anything. Okay, Vanuatu. That looks pretty good on satellite imagery. The scattered cloud here and there that I could see. Plenty of blue sky. The winds are light to moderate, mostly easterlies, probably about 10 to 15. Tomorrow, east-southeast around 15, but could be 20 to 25 near the Anisha area. Now, the winds pick up a little bit on Sunday for the bottom half of the group, easterlies 20 to 25, but 10 to 15 knots in the northern half. Monday, if this area, well, I believe this area of fresh winds, that Anisha area that I'm talking about, that's going to start to drift north, and I think Monday that's going to be the case. I would say expect southeast 20 to 25. It's going to go from Anisha to just north of Afate, and then from then on it'll be 10 to 15 knots. So very, very north, it's going to be pretty nice. But south of there, we are going to have a little bit more wind. And finally, to New Caledonia, that sheds much of the cloud that they've had. Imagery shows scattered to clear conditions as the trough moves off. In the southern lagoon, expect light southerlies. but shifting to east-northeast near Ile du Pan, and easterlies throughout the lagoon, but southeast near Noumea. And on Saturday, east to east-northeast, about 15 to 20. Sunday for the lagoon, east-northeast in the 20-knot range, maybe easing 15 to 20 for the afternoon on Sunday. So that's the story. And that trough that was, well, we had two things that were happening near New Caledonia and Australia. First off, we had the cyclonic depression that was bothering that area. That has sort of moved off and is falling apart to the southeast. It's due south of New Caledonia at the moment, but the trough from it is actually east of the longitude of Vanuatu. So those leaving New Caledonia will have that trough off to their east, which is good. At first, it looked like you were going to be sailing to the east of the trough, but right now it seems to have scooted a little bit quicker. So that's the story there, and I think that's all I've got. So any questions or comments, come now. Go ahead, Bravo.
Yeah, David, this is Bravo. We're at 24 degrees, 13 minutes south, 122, 14 minutes east, and we're heading for Southport. And we've been motoring much of the trip. We've now got 4 knots of wind. It's all over the place. I think now it's on the nose, and it'll go back behind us. And so we do have the motor on, and we don't have enough fuel to get to Australia. And when I looked at drifts this morning, it looked pretty dismal, with a very greasy passage all the way to the coast. I wonder if you see anything different, Silver.
I'm looking now, and looking at tomorrow. I would say the winds tomorrow. You're basically on Rumline, are you? Over?
Roger that.
Yeah, a little bit more than halfway. I see southeast winds filling in to about 15 knots. There's some areas of 20, but that's a little bit further to your south. That's Saturday early. Let's see what happens a little bit later in the day. The winds are about the same, still southerly. I'm going to say 10 to 15. Shouldn't be too bad. Sunday, light air Sunday as well. In fact, what's happening is the depression is still winding around, but it's down there at about, I would say, not quite 30 south, maybe about 28 south. And what's your ETA, by the way? Over?
I think we're looking at Tuesday. I think we're looking at Tuesday morning. Over.
Yeah, that looks to me like we're going to see some south to south-southwest winds on Sunday morning. You don't want to hear that, I know. Then they're going to go southerly, and then they're going to swing around again. And it's a very weak high center it's going to form, pretty much over where you'll be on Sunday. And then looking on Monday, the winds go north. The winds go north, I would say, about 10 to 15 knots. So they're really all over the place, like you indicated. I don't see any strong winds at all. Tuesday, they pick up a little bit, 15 toward the Southport area. They may get up to 15 to 20 right there along the coast. That's on Tuesday. But that's what it looks like, I'm afraid. So you'll just have to have a slow trip. Over.
Alrighty. Yep. We'll just see how many dinosaurs we have left in the tank. Okay, Dave, thanks a lot. This is Robert. We'll be on the side.
Well, I can remember when you didn't want strong winds, so you see what happens. Over.
Yeah, be careful what you ask for.
Well, it's better this way. You don't break so much stuff. All right. Is there anybody else? Oh, there's a couple there. I've got Anna Harter, and there was somebody in behind. Anna Harter, go ahead.
Any moderation or what I
Goodness, I'm having a little bit of trouble understanding your transmission. Could you just go again, over? Okay, you're one of the boats still in Falanga, and you're trying to get to Dinnerau. Looking ahead, let's have a look. You people have been putting up with some pretty crappy weather down there, haven't you?
Strong winds all week.
Very strong winds. I don't think, can you go out far enough? How about Sunday?
Sure.
Just hang on a minute, he'll have a look.
Well, the winds are going to be all in the 25 knot range. They're looking like east-southeast. So if you're heading in that direction, that's good. You don't even need sail. Save wear and tear on the cloth. Plenty of wind. It's going to be choppy out there.
Sunday?
And the other issue, by the way, is there's going to be convective activity, and that is likely to interfere with visibility. So you're going to need to take care on that. But it's going to be just a crummy week. Over.
Yeah, you certainly look as if you'll be back asking us on Monday. It just doesn't look very good for a while, and it's just not worth the risk, is it? All right, we'll clear with Anahata and make a note for Monday. There was somebody in behind Anahata. Go ahead again. You're quite light, but give us where you are and what you need. Over. Sorry, there was a bit of a double. Stand by, Toranui. Stand by, Toranui. Could you just give me, I've got 178 east. Could you give me your latitude again? Sorry. Okay, I've got 28. I'm going to need a relay. Can anybody copy that vote well? Oh, thank you, Harry. Go ahead. Yeah, I think that's Ganesh, and I've got you, Carolyn, 28178 east, and you've got 11 east southeast. I think I got that right, Harry. Was it 11? Over? Wow, that's quite decent conditions, and they've made pretty good progress. They reckon they're a slow boat, but they certainly are making good progress. They left on Monday. All right, got you there, Carolyn, no problem. So you would have heard the weather there, and nice to be able to say hello to you. Okay, just going back to Toranui. Toranui, did you have any comments on this? No, you just wanted to see where you were. Toranui, go ahead again, Graham. Well, Harry, I've still got problems with him. I can't copy him here. Have you got anything?
Yeah,
well, the wind's starting to back to the north, so they'll be happy about that. Yeah, he reported 25 to 30 from the east before, and it's starting to back. Yeah, they've got for those that are closer to wondering what's happening near New Zealand, we've got a happy email from Obsession too. They have got the wind from the east now, and they had it from the east, and it's gone east-northeast 10 to 15, so they're quite happy now because they are actually heading to where they want to go in Opua. All right, Harry, I know that you're busy there, but could you just give a call to anybody that I cannot copy in my skip, please? Over.
Well, that was a mistake. Can't hear him now.
There's two.
I think I'll turn streaming off because there's nothing much happening.